right, so we're getting to the good stuff now.
Yeah, you guys like this, right?
You guys have learned a bunch about turkeys, behavior, pecking order, breeding, things like that. Now let's get into what you need to have to be able to go on a turkey hunt, and that's going to be your turkey hunting gear. The first thing that we want to talk about is, of course, the type of weapon that you're going to use on a turkey hunt. And by far, the most popular type of weapon would, of course, be a shotgun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this shotgun here, it's personally my favorite weapon of choice, but you have the freedom to use whatever. Most importantly, check out your state regulations. You know, some states might not allow crossbows yet, like Marty's going to show here in a minute. But from what I know, most states either give you the option to use a shotgun. The most popular ones are, this is a semi-automatic and the other's a pump. And so this one's here is a 12 gauge. Man, we've seen incredible shots taken. We're going to talk about shooting, shots, ammo later. But we've seen guys be really successful with a smaller gun, like the 20 gauge. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that, it's less kick, it's lighter weight. So if they're running and gunning, they can carry it everywhere. But I highly recommend, if you're going to go the shotgun route, highly recommend the sling. It's not one of those things like waterfowl hunt where it could, have a tendency to get in the way. This baby here is it's a lifesaver, because you could be changing your strategy all the time, want to flop that gun on your back and go. So yeah, we've had real good success with that. And what do you got here, man?
Well, the next thing would be archery. Now, what most people do, the general progression is most people try and get their first turkey or first several turkeys with the shotgun. It has a little bit of room for forgiveness, some margin of error with the shot that you're sending out there. So most people will start off with a shotgun, but as you get more turkeys under your belt, a lot of people get bit by the bug to go out with archery equipment. And that can be a compound bow, a regular compound bow, crossbow, depending on your state regulations.
Yeah.
But the difference with archery when it comes to turkeys is the aiming is completely different. When you're using a shotgun, you're trying to aim right at where the feathers meet the skin on the neck. And hopefully what that'll do is that'll, actually hit the spinal cord and the brain with pellets that come out of the shotgun. Not quite the same when it comes to archery equipment. So when it comes to archery, you have two kill shots basically. First off is trying to hit the vitals, the organs that are internal, like heart and lungs, the same way you would going after deer. The other option is straight up decapitation. You're trying to take that head off. Now, if you can picture that turkey's head is about this big, and you got to be pretty close and be pretty confident in your shooting. So that's why a lot of people save archery for a natural progression as they get further into their turkey hunting. If you're not going to be trying to take the head off, which the type of broadhead you'd use if you're trying to decapitate a bird, there are special broadheads that are made with big, wide cross blades that will actually, increase your odds of hitting that little tiny neck. The other option, if you're not trying to decapitate the bird, is to actually use a regular broadhead and go for the vitals. Now, when you're using a regular broadhead, I would highly recommend those old practice broadheads that you've had around for 10 years or something that are dull. They're target broadheads. That's what you really want to be using. You want to get that arrow to penetrate, but if it stays in and doesn't come out, it increases your odds of being able to recover that bird because they're not going to die instantly, and a lot of times they'll try and fly.
So you're saying it's the opposite of hunting big game.
Exactly.
You're not looking for that pass-through.
Yeah, pass-through doesn't really give you any advantage at that point. The broadhead's already into the vitals. You want it to do its work. But by having that arrow shaft still stuck in the bird sticking out, it inhibits their ability to be able to take off, which increases your odds of recovery. So that would be one of the main things. Now, as far as distance, typically if you're using archery, you're going to want to try and have, it's a pretty small target, even if you're aiming at the body. You're going to want to try and have that shot 20 yards, maybe 30 yards at the most. And if you're trying to decapitate them, more in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 yards. But when it comes to shotgun, you can get a little bit more range though on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about chokes and all that kind of stuff later on as well, which affect your patterning of the gun. But yeah, we're talking about the different weapons. I don't have the sights on here, to show you right now that I like to use, but I like to mount a red dot sight on there. So once again, everything we're talking about, you always got to check your state regulations, see what's legal and what's not. But with a good red dot system on there and a decent choke system with regular shot, you know, guys are taking anywhere from that upper range, you know, from 40 to 65, 70. Some guys shooting up to 70 yards, depending on the type of shot and everything. So, yeah, you can definitely extend your range with it. Be honest with you guys, I'm still using the shotgun. I've never once hit a moment in my life where I've even started to get remotely bored using a gun for turkeys. And so I might change it up this year. You know, Marty's got some stuff that he's had going on with the bow, and I think we're gonna attach a pretty cool video clip of you killing your first bird with a compound bow.
Yeah, it took me a long time. I had so many times that I was close, and I finally got it done. So we'll take a look at that right now. So here we are again, my favorite time of the year, spring, and of course that means turkey hunting. Morning started off great. There were birds gobbling everywhere. Had my fingers crossed. I've been trying to get a bird with a bow for over 10 years now. I've came so close so many times, and it just has never worked out. Something always goes wrong. It's either hamstring cramping up right as I'm getting ready to come to full draw, too much brush in the way, or another bird comes in. Coyotes, deer scare them off. Just for whatever reason, getting a turkey with a bow has eluded me. So far, it'd been a really cold start to the season, and the breeding cycles were kind of backed up. All of the birds were still flocked together.
Got another flock of them all grouped up together. They're out in the center of the field, so far away, it's not even worth turning the camera on. Switching over there to try and film it, but they're out there. I've just got to figure out how to get them to come about half a mile this way. I've got one hen that started to yell back to me, so I'm going to see if I can work her just a little bit. I don't want to overcall, but she seems to be responding to this tom teaser. See if I can get her fired up. If she's the boss hen, she might bring the whole group over here. It's a long ways. Got a tom coming. He's got some hens with him. I just threw out 2 yelps. He gobbled back to the first one. He didn't gobble back to the second one, so I'm just going to shut up. He's only about 80 yards away. He's got to come out of that valley, though, and get up here.
A couple minutes of silence go by, and then here he comes.
He's coming. He's on the edge. years, baby. 10 years I've been trying. I have killed my hamstring so many times, cramping up like mad, trying to get a shot. I've had brush in the way. I've had decoys in the way. I've had other birds come in and chase birds off right as I'm getting ready to draw back. I finally did it. Threw out 2 strings of yelps. He gobbled to the first one. He was quiet on the second. I said, I'm not going to call again. He's only 100 yards away. Next thing you know, here he comes. Puts on a show, comes right into the decoy. I could have let him try and hit that decoy, but I didn't want to take the chance of something happening if he got spooked, knock the decoy over or something. Managed to get to full draw, and as soon as I did, I looked down and I said to myself, you gotta let this arrow fly. This is the first time, 10 years of carrying this stinking bow around. First time I ever got to look through the peeps at a clear sight window right down to the bird. Take a second, let that arrow rip, and I think I got a great shot. I think he's down right there in the corner. I'm gonna wait just a little bit though. What a cool hunt. What a beautiful morning. Man, if you haven't tried turkey hunting, you don't know what you're missing. If this camera's shaking, I apologize. I'm doing my best to hold it steady, but I'm still shaking from nerves and adrenaline. First bow kill. Nice Tom. Beautiful, beautiful bird. Beautiful morning. Just unbelievable hunt. First bow kill ever. Awesome.